Is GTA Online worth playing in 2020? That's what I'm going to answer in today's video. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another GTA Online video, and this has been a question I've seen a lot of obviously newer players ask because GTA Online has been out for what, 6.5 years now? And even though Rockstar continued to update it and there have been more players than ever now, a lot of newer people who are either wanting to pick up the game or have picked up the game want to know, is it worth it? And hopefully I can answer that with this video. We will start with the cons first. And honestly, look, GTA Online has a bunch of cons. That's the one thing you need to know going into the game. It's great. It has a lot of things to do. We'll touch on those in the pros section of this video. But because Rockstar didn't intend for GTA Online to be as big as it is, it has a bunch of issues. So what are the cons? Number one, and this is just something you're going to have to deal with because it's GTA, because it's a multiplayer game, really, griefers and sort of the toxicity of the players. Some players aren't toxic, of course, but most players in a public lobby will be toxic, and they will try and grief you, which, you know, means they're going to try and blow you up. They're going to try and kill you over and over again. There are ways, obviously, to combat this, but you are going to run into griefers at a certain point. And if you're on PC, you have the addition of running into modders, because modders, they're not in every single lobby, but Rockstar's anti-cheat isn't that great, so you will eventually see a modder if you're playing on PC. And sometimes those modders can be bad, sure, but other times they can actually be kind of fun and kind of good. They can either, you know, drop money if you're looking to sneak some money past Rockstar. They can sometimes spawn crazy looking vehicles and UFOs and stuff. So there can be some fun to be had with the modders, but odds are you will come across a modder if you're on PC and griefers if you're on console or even PC. The second con is that GTA Online is not even close to being balanced. It probably is one of the most unbalanced games in gaming at the moment. And it's really unfortunate Rockstar haven't done anything to combat this unbalancedness, because there's one vehicle in particular that is just so good and so overpowered, and that is the Oppressor Mark II. That is the flying bike that has the rocket boost. It has missiles on it. It has flares. It's really quick to get around the map. It is just overall one of, if not the best vehicle in the game. And a lot of griefers and a lot of those toxic players end up using this because it's so easy to get kills with. So that's a vehicle that pretty much everyone tries to get. Like, that's the top of the line. And it's unfortunate because not only for the reasons I just mentioned, people killing each other, but it's also unfortunate because it means that most of these other vehicles that are in the game, just, they're not worth it. Because it's like, why go out of my way to get these other vehicles when this Oppressor Mark II bike is just so much better? So there is the unbalancedness in the game, and again, you're just going to have to deal with that and know that going in. Businesses in the game, all the businesses, there's a bunch of them, and they all make you money, but the problem is that most of them are pretty repetitive, and they're definitely grindy. If you do not want to grind for money in GTA, then honestly, GTA Online might not be for you. GTA, because of the way Rockstar's made the economy, is very, very grindy. Unless you buy shark cards, but that's spending real life money on the game. And I know some people don't want to do that. And speaking of these businesses, some of them actually aren't too solo friendly. So if you are playing by yourself, then some of these businesses are just not going to be viable for you. Now, some of those issues that I mentioned, there are many loading issues with the game because the game, again, wasn't really made for what it is now. The loading is terrible. Like, sometimes you'll spend freaking 5 minutes in a loading screen and it's the worst. And honestly, that's not going to change until they release GTA Online 2. the loading in the game is just not good. The way they have it structured, where it's like a peer-to-peer network, it's not like actually on a server. It makes things lag a bunch, and it'll say saving failed, can't connect to the server. It doesn't happen all the time, but it is something that happens fairly frequently that kind of will drive you crazy. Some other issues, going back to those shark cards, because shark cards are in the game, the economy and the missions are basically based off of shark card sales. They have toned down the amount of money you can make and how fast you can make money because they want you to buy shark cards. And that's like one of the real unfortunate parts of the game. But honestly, it seems like that's what every freaking game is doing nowadays. So it's not like you can go to another game and escape it, because it seems like every pretty popular game nowadays has some form of microtransaction that, inhibits the game play. You also have a bunch of very tedious things in the game, and I'm not going to list the entirety of them. There's a bunch. I'll list the main ones that you're going to come across. If you're a new player, phone calls. Every freaking minute, if not every 30 seconds, you will get a phone call from an NPC in the game telling you to buy the new business. And because there are so many businesses, you get so many phone calls, and it literally will drive you crazy. Honestly, I had one of my buddies join, and he was like a level 11. So he had nothing. In 10 minutes, he had like 23 phone calls. I don't know. It was a very high number. And he's like, dude, why am I getting all these phone calls? And you cannot turn them off. And it's every time you log into a session, you will get bombarded with all of these phone calls. That's something that I freaking hate. And I know I don't have to deal with it as much because I'm a veteran player and I have everything. But if you're a new player, that's something you're going to have to deal with. Also, things on the phone, like you have to go through your phone pretty much to do a lot of things. To get your vehicles that are blown up, you have to go through the phone. And sometimes you can't just get all of them back. You have to do them individually, which is very tedious. Calling a mechanic is just kind of it worked back in 2013, but in today's day where things just need to be instant, the mechanic is sometimes very annoying to call to get your cars. Cops are another thing that are really annoying in GTA Online. There are ways around the cops, but for the most part, cops are annoying. It's like anytime you just do something fun, the cops are going to come after you. That's like kind of a meme in GTA. And then the final con I'll talk about is the fact that Rockstar are very secretive. They will never tell us anything about their upcoming plans, which is very annoying because we just want to know as the community. We want to know what's coming next. And unless there's a leak, or unless, one of the pretty reputable leakers finds something like within the game files or something like that, we don't know what's happening next. And a lot of games nowadays come out with like an upcoming timeline for what they have planned, not Rockstar. So those are a bunch of cons, I know, but let's talk about the pros. Like, what makes GTA so fun, and why are so many people playing it? That's actually one of the pros. Now, there are more players than ever before in GTA Online. So most things, like most of the game modes, will be populated, and that's great. Also, even though they are super secretive, about every 6 months or so, we get a really quality DLC. They usually do one in the summer, which is coming up in about a month. That's when they usually release it, around July, August. And then they always do one in December. So you're guaranteed 2 DLCs that do last for, I don't know, a month or two, maybe 3 months if they have a bunch of drip-fed content. So you do get quality DLCs, and because there's more players than ever, there's always things that are full. And GTA Online, at the end of the day, is a GTA game, which means it's a sandbox game. You can technically do whatever you want. There are so many things to do in this game, especially if you have friends. I mean, there's just an unlimited amount of things you can do in this game to have fun. But unfortunately, it's like that's where some of the cons come into place, because a lot of those fun things do require money to buy, and they are kind of expensive. So you are going to have to find a balance between maybe grinding a little bit to get some money to buy some of the things to have fun with. But because there's so many things in the game, pretty much anyone can find something they like and just sort of stick with that. And kind of just branching off that topic, because there are so many things in the game and so many businesses in the game, there's a ton of ways to make money. Again, some are more solo friendly than others, but there are ways to make money. The best ways to make money are the heists, and there's quite a few heists in the game. We have the old heists that have been in the game since 2015, I believe. We have the Doomsday heists, which are very challenging, but they're very fun. And then we have the new casino heist, which is also really fun and makes a lot of money. And that's in addition to import and export vehicles, bike gangs, drug dealing, gun running, smuggling various items in airplanes, getting crates. There are a ton of ways to make money, and I think you can find what you want and sort of stick with it. And honestly, one of the best parts about GTA, I think, is that kind of because it's a sandbox game, it doesn't really demand much of you. Unlike other games where you have to be super focused and you have to pay attention, GTA is not that way. And if you do end up dying, if someone ends up killing you, you're not going to lose anything. It's not like you lose progress with your character. That is, unless you are doing business missions. If you are doing business missions, then people can kill you. You can lose all your business product. But if you're just playing normally and you get killed, nothing changes. You just respawn and that's it. So it is kind of a good game to relax. And because you have freedom to do whatever, you can play this game in short bursts. Like, you know, if you just have 30 minutes or so a day to do something, you can hop on, maybe check one of your businesses, make sure it's all up and running, and then you can get off. It's not like other games where you have to be engaged in it for hours upon hours to do something. Now, I'm not going to decide if GTA Online is worth playing for you. I think you just need to ask yourself what you're looking for in a game. I will leave a link in the video description. It's a video I made a couple of days ago giving new players a couple of tips on what to do when they do start up the game, how to start out with a couple of millions of dollars, which helps, how to get rid of those cops if you don't want to deal with them. So I would check out that if you are looking to get into GTA Online in 2020. But it is definitely a fun game at the end of the day, and I hope to see some of you guys out there in Los Santos. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Please drop the video a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe for more GTA Online content. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.